Now let's go to White House Deputy Communications Director and Deputy Press Secretary Brian Morgenstern. Brian, I'm glad to get you here. You know, a lot's been going on. I'm watching Twitter. I know you got the president has Rudy Giuliani out there fighting for an election win. Meanwhile, the DOJ, Bill Barr, Attorney General, comes out and says he didn't see any election fraud. The back and forth on Twitter, on social media, is intense. The people are ticked off at Bill Barr. I understand there was a meeting with Barr at the White House. Can you shed any light on that?
Sure. Eric, thanks for having me. It's great to be with you. I believe the Department of Justice clarified that he was maybe taken a little bit out of context there, and whatever the Attorney General may have been referring to would be any specific criminal investigations that may or may not come across his desk, but not relating to the president's civil litigation and all of the allegations out there. Other than that, you know, that's sort of a campaign issue. We're on the official side, but with respect to the Attorney General's comments, I think he did issue that clarification that he was sort of taken out of context by the media, which then sort of jumped to some conclusions that maybe he was not actually making there.
So our audience understands that means, well, Bill Barr weighed in on the election fraud, whether or not there was election fraud or not. That would seem to be a campaign issue, but he's basically saying, I don't have any cases on my desk. It begs the question, well, where the hell is the FBI? If there's so much indication that there is election fraud, where the heck is the FBI, which would fall under non-campaign but administration?
Sure, and that's fair. I think the president's made his opinion very clear that he wants law enforcement, he wants the FBI to be investigating any credible allegations, which I believe was also a part of the Attorney General's clarification that, of course, the Department of Justice would investigate any and all credible allegations of fraud. Of course, the funny thing, Eric, about ongoing investigations is they generally can't really talk about them. But again, I think he was issuing that clarification to show that he was really sort of taken out of context and it wasn't meant to reflect on the president's team's ongoing litigations.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about, we were talking with Dr. Burke, so let's talk a little bit about this emergency approval for the vaccine. President Trump, I believe rightly so, is taking credit for it. He pushed through Operation Warp Speed, which pushed the FDA to give approvals for phase 2, phase 2B, phase 3 trials, which may have taken months, if not years, without the president's push. Kayleigh McEnany famously recently just said it should be called the Trump vaccine. What do you make of the left pushing back on Trump being involved in this vaccine being available fairly soon?
Yeah, Eric, they can't give him credit for anything. It's amazing. And now, just recently, you know, some of the scientists, of course, Dr. Fauci among them, have come out and reiterated that getting kids back in school is very important. That's something the president's been saying for many months. Of course, only now will people acknowledge that he was right. And with Operation Warp Speed and the vaccine, he's been pushing all along, saying we can get this done this year. He's been showing leadership. He's been speeding up the timeline. He's been showing that we can get millions of Americans vaccinated this year when previously it would take 5 times as long. He's really pushed the regulators to do their work quickly. He's worked with private industry and the scientific community to get these clinical trials, some of the largest trials in history, by the way, done quickly to ensure that not only are these vaccines effective, and they are. We're showing Moderna and Pfizer with over 90% efficacy, 94, 95% efficacy. That's really astounding progress. They are safe. We're not seeing any, we're not seeing major adverse effects as a result in these trials. And that's really terrific because it gives the American people the confidence that not only will these vaccines help protect them and make them healthy, make them you know, not susceptible to this virus. They're not going to have these serious side effects, at least at this point in what we're learning from these studies. And really speeding up this timeline, what the president's done, Eric, is historic. He has had industrial scale manufacturing going on for the first time, I think, in history at the same time as these trials. He's also sped along the regulatory process and really put pressure in the right places, in the appropriate way, not for political reasons, but to save American lives.
Listen,
his strong leadership has really made a difference.
Brian, I sit on a board of a pharma company involved in trying to find opioid alternatives for obvious reasons, and I know what it takes to get the FDA to approve a phase 1, phase 2, phase 2B, phase 3 trial. You literally could take years and spend millions upon millions of dollars waiting, just even if you have the right drug. But if Operation Warp Speed did anything, it pushed that a little bit faster. It's going to end up saving lives. It just drives me crazy when the left says Trump had nothing to do with this, or Moderna or Pfizer says, well, we're not Operation Warp Speed. But guess what? If we bought $2 billion worth of your vaccine on the backside of you actually finding an effective vaccine, I think Trump had a little bit to do with you going forward and taking the chance on some of the vaccine research. Brian, I appreciate your time. Always good to have you on.
Thanks, Eric. Great to be with you.